But yeah, Cornel West on Status Coup. Always enjoy the questions that Jordan asks folks. And this is one I'm specifically waiting to get a little bit of insight into. That's the fact that right after Cornel West left the Green Party, Jill Stein of the Green Party decided to announce her own presidential campaign for the Green Party nomination. I think most people, kind of assume that Jill Stein will win the Green Party nomination. There's pretty much no one that's more well known within the Green Party than Jill Stein. And after Cornel West dropped out of that nominating process, I think it's pretty obvious that she's going to win the Green Party ticket, the top spot on that ticket. Cornel West was asked about this by Jordan Chariton, which I thought was interesting because a lot of people have kind of been speculating like, hey, maybe they're going to join forces, right? Like maybe even though Cornel West left the Green Party, maybe eventually he'll decide to join the Jill Stein ticket as her VP, or maybe she'll give him the top spot and she'll be the VP. Who knows? But, people have speculated, theorized, fantasized about something like that happening because, let's be honest, now that Cornel West and Jill Stein are both running as third party candidates kind of in the same lane, it's going to split the vote of the, already very small percentage of Americans that would be considering voting for someone like Cornel West or Jill Stein, making it basically impossible for either of them to even get to 5%, which is already a pretty lofty goal, as we've seen. So, people are worried about this, people that actually want to see third parties succeed, because like I said, if they want to get Jill Stein to 5%, well, it's going to be a lot harder with Cornel West taking away votes from the Green Party and vice versa. So I was definitely interested to see, Dr. West get a chance to respond to all of this. Did you have any thoughts on this before we get started, Zach?
One, shout out to Jordan, obviously. He always does a great job when he's interviewing everyone, particularly Cornel West. I feel like he's had a good amount of access to Dr. West, which is dope because that means that, we have good content to react to over here. So much appreciated, Jordan. Make sure to subscribe to Status Coup if you're not. But yeah, as far as this goes, it's the left cannibalizing itself. It's letting the minutia, fracture us. I don't think either of the campaigns are going to go anywhere meaningful at this point. I'm pretty down on it. I think that Cornel West is a moral leader, but he's not a political leader, unfortunately. I think that he's shown that he has pretty bad political instincts, multiple critical errors. And I just don't think that we've seen enough in the past from Jill Stein to anticipate that she'll be able to overcome the obstacles that she hasn't overcome in the past, particularly when she had the biggest boost she would ever fucking get in the wake of the Bernie Sanders, robbery in 2016. I'm trying to find the best way to put it. Basically, when everybody was so pissed that they cheated him and gave us Hillary Clinton, that a lot more people, Gavin included, but even I remember just seeing people around, more people talking about Jill Stein. That's why the hit pieces on her racked up. There was the "If It's Yellow, Let It Mellow" thing from whatever that was, Vice or whatever. Gavin loves to bring that up every once in a while. But anyway, those are my preliminary thoughts. Excited to see what Dr. West has to say. I know that he has kind of hinted in the past that he wasn't going to be, interested in joining forces with anybody, but that he was leading his own thing, which is fine. I respect that. Again, I've just chosen to now view this as a moral campaign, a campaign about ideology and issues and framework, than it is about a serious mount for the presidency, even though they will continuously tell you it's a serious bid for the presidency. Like, it's not. If you donate money to either of these candidates, it is to make a protest point. It is to keep these ideas in the conversation to whatever degree they're capable of. And that's essentially what's going to happen. Like, how relevant now is what's his face with the Pentagon rolling papers?
Mike Gravel.
Like, he was a great, he made a small splash for a while. He did shift the Overton window a little bit, but they did exactly what they're going to do to Dr. West and Dr. Jill Stein, which is, ignore him and, immediately move on from that part of the conversation as soon as it's no longer effective.
That I'm hearing, I want to talk about a much softer version of resistance. There's a lot of people that I'm hearing are resisting you and Jill Stein running separately. Obviously, you initially were running for the Green Party nomination. You switched to an independent. Dr. Stein, who ran a good campaign in 2016, is now running Green Party. Obviously, it's an uphill climb, whether you're Green Party or independent. Running to try and make a dent, but a lot of people, including people watching now, feel like, why not join together rather than siphoning off those limited votes? I know you're a Jazz man. Have
Can
you
we
talked
pause
to
Jordan for
Dr.
1 second?
Stein at all?
I just love how Jordan does not give a fuck who he's interviewing. He will ask you whatever question he wants to, and I love how he's able. He's always respectful, but he just kind of I like how he's asking him a tough question, but he's like, "I know you're a Jazz man." I was like, "Oh man, Jordan's feeling himself now." I love to see it.
And is there the potential of, whether it's back in the Green Party or in another way, of you two joining forces?
No, I mean, I don't see it though. I mean, I was surprised that she actually announced because, as you know, it was just a few months ago. She was interim campaign manager. This was the right candidate. We've got to all get behind Brother West. This is a historic moment and so forth. And then when I decided to go independent, it looked as if it was much more a commitment to the party, a commitment to the Green Party than the particular vision that I was after.
So that's already off the bat a bit of a weird answer to me. Cornel West saying that no, he doesn't really see himself working with Jill Stein. And not just that, he was actually surprised that she announced a campaign of her own with the Green Party after he left the Green Party to go independent, kind of implying that, her loyalty is more with party than it is with policy or something like that. Like, oh, she only cared about me as long as I was associated with her project. But, as soon as I left, she doesn't give a fuck anymore. That's kind of what he said, which I don't agree with, because, I don't think with Jill Stein, it's just about this partisan sort of party loyalty. I think what it's about is that the Green Party has been her project for like the last 20 years or so. She's been trying to make the Green Party successful, to get them to 5%. And when it looked like Cornel West would be a good nominee, when it looked like he was interested in becoming their nominee, of course she was excited about that. Of course she was enthusiastic about propelling him into that position, because of the fact that he could have gotten the Green Party to 5%. Let's be honest, that's what the end goal was. It always has been Cornel West getting the Green Party to 5%. It was never really about Cornel West winning, in my opinion. Like, I don't ever think that Jill Stein thought that was going to happen. Jill Stein's not stupid. Even with the Green Party, I don't think Cornel West would have won the presidency. No. I think for everyone, myself included, the exciting thing about Cornel West being a part of the Green Party was that, hey, here's a candidate finally that can get this party to 5%, get them to that federal funding, which could make them even more successful in the next election. But yeah, I think that's fairly obviously why Jill Stein is doing what she's doing. And after Cornel West left the Green Party out to dry, she's like, well, they need somebody. They have to nominate somebody, because you're not even going to be on 25 freaking state ballots, Cornel. Like, maybe if Cornel West had such an impressive ground game, he had such an impressive operation and ballot access group, that she was truly confident he would be on all 50 states or 45 states or whatever, maybe the Green Party would stand down in that instance. Like, I guess that's what Cornel West wants them to do. He's like, well, I'm in this race, so the Green Party should just stand down and not nominate anyone.
But that's maybe stupid. Then you run for their nomination. I actually know. This is where it comes down to. Like, obviously, I would never dream of challenging the morals or ethics of Dr. West. I think that he has a lifetime of being on the right side of history, right? And we'll talk about how that's actually a problematic phrase with Matt when he joins us. But I don't trust his political instincts. I don't trust his analysis of the situation here. Whatever he's being told does not seem to be good intel. He has made bad decisions every single step of the way. And I think, like, positioning himself as like a weird like antagonist to the Green Party, where it was like, well, I thought about joining the Green Party, and now after I abandoned that, they're all saying, well, we're going to continue the party without you. It's like, no shit, dude. Of course they're going to do that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like if I'm a player and I sit out because I don't want to, play for my contract, that's my 100%. That's my right. But they're still going to have that game, and I'm just not going to be in it, right? And then I can't hate all my teammates, and I can't say that that's a terrible organization because they wouldn't play ball on Sunday, right? You know what I mean? Like, sure, you wanted to go march to the beat of your own drum. You're a jazz man. I respect that. I respect that he wants to have 100% his own vision. He wants to have his own agenda set. He doesn't want to be beholden to any fine. You don't want to be beholden to that. But don't go after Jill Stein. We all know that she recruited you because she thought you were the best man for that job, right? But it's her project to find somebody for that job. She can't do it. She says, well, I guess it's back on me then. I tried to recruit somebody else. I tried to put somebody else in here. I tried to just, stand back in 2020 and let the party decide. They made a horrible choice without me. That's what she's saying. She's saying, boy, I'm not letting my life's work go down like this. That's what's happening. At least be honest about that. At least be honest. I know he has to campaign, he has to position, he has to do whatever, but I'm actually, it's kind of reinforcing my, I have problems with both of these campaigns. I have problems with the independent approach. I have problems with the Green Party approach. I think it's ridiculous of Cornel West to assume that he's going to get on more ballots. I mean, I know that the laws changed since Howie ran, but Howie got on 48 fucking ballots, and that was Howie fucking Hawkins. You're telling me that we can't do a little bit better with Cornel West? Let's say we get on 42 states with the Green Party with Cornel West, whatever it is, and he's like, I'm going to get on 35. There's no way he gets on 35 states as an independent. No way. Not a chance. Yeah. Okay. And where have we seen any infrastructure, right? At least the Green Party has infrastructure. There's people ask us all the time, we fucking know, oh, how do I get involved and help the Cornel West campaign? I don't know. Send them a check. That's basically your only option right now. And that's not exactly going to bode well for them come November.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, I'll remind everyone that by walking away from the Green Party, it's not like he just walked away from Jill Stein and, their little group of lefty buddies or whatever the hell is going on over there. It's not just a personal thing. He walked away from ballot access in at least 35 states plus. The California ballot access was already secured by the Green Party. So if you're running as a third party candidate and you're not RFK, who's funded by Trump donors and billionaires and stuff like that, you're actually running a people.
Probably fucking AIPAC now.
Yeah, and probably AIPAC as well. If you're not running a campaign like that, as Cornel West, has at least mostly decided not to. He returned the Harlan Crow donation. So, who knows if he's taking other billionaire money.
Tantrum about it. Threw a fucking tantrum about it. The guy with the Nazi collection, a fucking billionaire that donated to you. Bro, come on.
Exactly.
Come on.
But the point is, it's for
Another
someone like that,
horrible political decision.
Yeah, that was one of the last straws for me too, to be honest. And possibly for Jill Stein as well. From Jill Stein's perspective, it's she set him up for success in the Green Party. She recommended Peter Dow to his campaign. Then Peter Dow immediately leaves. He takes this Harlan Crow money, then puts out a bad statement. It's just one misstep after another. It really is
launching with the fucking People's Party, the biggest joke even on the online left. Are you fucking kidding me, guys? Come on now. Come on.
Yeah. So again, from Jill Stein's perspective, this isn't about Cornel West. This isn't about Jill Stein either, right? From her perspective, it's about getting the Green Party to 5%. And why the Green Party and not some other random third party that no one else has heard of? Well, because the Green Party has been around the longest. It has the most ballot access. It has the most track record of success, albeit not much, but still.
Volunteers?
And volunteers, exactly. It is the only leftist third party that is even remotely viable of getting to that 5% threshold. Not winning. I don't even think that's really in the question right now, unfortunately. But if all you care about is getting to the 5% goal, then yeah, unfortunately, Cornel West campaign is not going to do that. Not only is it not going to get the Green Party to 5%, obviously, he's no longer running with the Green Party. It's not even going to get itself to 5%. Cornel West is not going to get 5% of the vote. He's not going to be on enough ballots to do so. And furthermore, even if he miraculously did pull that off, it wouldn't matter because he's no longer associated with the party. So no one gets that federal matching funds for the next election. It'll all just, I guess, I don't know if it would go directly to Cornel West. I don't think so. I think it would just dissipate unless he started some party, which would, I don't necessarily know how well that would go. But the point is that in Jill Stein's perspective, it's not really about any individual person. It's about building the third party movement. And that's what it was about for me too. That's why I was excited about Cornel West, because I was like, this guy can get the third party movement to 5%. He can get the Green Party to 5% and make our chances more viable in the next election. But now that's basically all down the toilet. None of that is going to happen anymore. And that's why Jill Stein is, desperately trying to salvage the Green Party's chances of doing that without him, which again is also still massively unlikely. I don't think she's going to get the party to 5% either, but she has to at least try. Like I said, the Green Party can't just take fucking 4 years off and wait around for 2028. That's not what they're going to do. And again, unless Cornel West had such an impressive operation where he really truly was going to get 50 state ballot access, I think it's ridiculous to ask them to stand down just because he decided to, dip.
Honestly, come on, bro. You can't ask them to do that. It's like, I mean, it's kind of like let's take something a little bit more personal, right? Let's just say one day, I fucking, I get hit in the head really hard. or or honestly, not even that. It doesn't even have to be anything. I could just wake up one day and decide like I don't want to fucking do a podcast anymore. That I can't come over here and bitch and moan at Gavin if he still does a podcast. Oh, you didn't retire, bro. You didn't retire. No, I retired. Like fucking, are you kidding me? Like Tommy Chong can't be pissed off if Cheech Marin goes out and does a comedy special by himself. That's what the fuck he wants to do. Tommy Chong's like, bro, I just wanted to stay home and not tour. Cheech is like, that's fine. I'm gonna go out on tour. Tommy's like, peace and love, right? Like, you can't be mad at somebody else for doing that. Like, Cheech doesn't have the right to be mad that Tommy doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this isn't like foreshadowing, guys. Like, Gavin and I are going to do the show forever, but I'm just.
I'm going to replace you with Jill Stein, bro.
Exactly, bro. Honestly, the fucking show might take off, Gavin. You guys start kissing rocks and fucking worshiping. And I'm just kidding. Gavin's on his new age spiritual arc. Didn't you hear? He's been tuning in. He's quit smoking weed. He's reading Carl Jung. He's finally dealing with the shit and the sewage and the darkness that battles in all of
backyard.
The rat in the backyard. I can't believe that. That was the most like. I was like, you are battling with inner demons that are nowhere near what. Like, we're of a very different kind, brother. You're not thinking about like the existential crises that's like devour our world. You're thinking about how you're evil. Like, that's a fucking different. That's a different roll of the dice. That's a different roll of the dice. You're thinking about how you will always be a fucking rat. Anyway, we're getting on a diatribe. That's not here. We've already psychoanalyzed Jimmy plenty to death. Listen, what I'm saying about Cornel West is that he can't be pissed at the Green Party. If he does, that's going to continue to be a bad look, and that's poor leadership. That shows concern that he knows they are going to sink his battleship, and I think that's what it is, man. I'm not trying to be too hard on the guy. God knows. At this point, I think that we've reached out to Cornel West. I think he's seen the show. Don't think he's impressed with us. That's fine. But that just means I can shoot from the hip a little bit on this, guys. We don't have to do the fucking oh, Willie won't he come on? Like, he's not coming on our show. So I'm going to just be real. Yeah. I think he knows that he can't fucking get even close to 5% if Jill Stein runs. I think he knows that he's not going to have the ballot access that she has, and that he'll have to basically do a write-in campaign in most states. And we all know about write-in campaigns. They're doomed from the fucking jump. Okay, this is 2023. It'll be 2024 in the next election. Write-in campaign's not working. Write-in campaign's not beating the machine. Write-in campaign's not getting to 5%. Write-in campaign ends in humiliation, okay? Because I think that, honestly, what might happen, straight up on God, Gavin, I think there's a reality where the Green Party still gets more than Cornel West because of how poorly run this campaign is. And that says something really sad, because I mean, we don't have anybody with a bigger name than Cornel West.
Oh, 100%. I absolutely think that Jill Stein will end up with more votes than Cornel West because she'll be on more ballots. Absolutely. Yeah. Plus, there weren't articles about how she owes $500,000 in taxes and child support and all this stuff. Like, a lot of people, unfortunately, they saw those articles and they decided that Cornel West is not doing this for pure reasons. I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's something I've heard people, saying, oh, he's just running because he wants to pay off his taxes or something.
People say all kinds of dumb shit. And I saw somebody that I like in our chat being stupid. And I think it was you, Pedro the Line. I'm going to have to call you out by name. Like, this whole, like, Peter Dow is an op. Guys, these are people's jobs. Okay, when you're doing this at a high level, this is people's jobs. Okay, Peter Dow was like, fuck this shit. This is a horrible job. I don't need this, Like, literally, he did it twice. I'm sorry, but he tried to be polite both times about, like, he was like, bro, I have enough money. I don't need to do this. I'm trying to do good work. You are making it very hard for me. On top of that, I'm experiencing a lot of fucking, trauma as a result of the fucking devastation that's going on across the globe, and I don't think this is worth my time right now. That's what he said. That doesn't exactly make me stoked about the campaign, but it doesn't make the guy an op, right? It means that he tried twice, he swung twice, and he was like, fuck, dude, we're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I'm not doing it then. And I could see how you could arrive in that position. I could see how you could arrive in that position. I actually feel like, go ahead. Well, just one last thing. Gavin, we've trolled Peter Dow for being the main character of Twitter and like having like main character syndrome. And sometimes he malds, and I'm sorry, bro. Like, you could be mad at us, but if you mauled on Twitter, like, the Vanguard will be there, sir. We will I've mauled it. Make yourself feel better. Fucking roast me to high heavens. I don't give a shit. Right? I'm a bartender. I take fucking tongue lashings for a living. The other fuckers that I work with are damn ruthless.
You see, I'm not convinced that the Green Party is the primary institutional vehicle for a mass-based campaign. I think it's proven over time it's just not a mass-based party. And over again, it's been unable to convince the masses of folk that people ought to go their way. By masses of folk, I'm talking about Black folk, poor people, working people, brown people, indigenous people, and so forth. And so I'm still fundamentally committed to a
the thing is like he's not exactly wrong. Obviously, the Green Party has over the last 20 years proven itself to be incapable of like, gathering the masses in a revolutionary charge against the establishment or like, yeah, obviously they have not won an election. They haven't even got to 5% yet, but it's also like, why was this not stuff you thought about before joining the Green Party? Like, yes, that's obvious. They've never won before, but I don't really understand why you would have joined their ranks and, put your hat in the ring for their nomination if that's the way you felt, because that's not exactly anything new. Like, that's old news. People have been saying about the Green Party for a long time. I'm sure Cornel West had already thought about that before he joined the Green Party. So I really want to see like a book or a documentary or something explaining all the behind the scenes machinations here. What exactly led him to join the Green Party in the first place, despite his reservations? And then ultimately, what actually made him leave, because he keeps referencing things like, oh, it's not a good party for black folks or indigenous folks, kind of implying that like maybe their outreach is not as good as he would hope in those regards, or maybe that it's a lot of white people running the scenes, which is
I definitely think that's the case, right? And I think that's what caused the riff. I just think that easy to cast dispersions, easy to fucking point out problems. That's what we do. That's what we do. You don't see me running for fucking office. So like, where are you making those corrections?
Yeah. And how is your campaign going to be any more successful at galvanizing the revolutionary masses or whatever? Because I don't think it is. Like, I honestly don't think it is. I don't think that the Cornel West campaign is going to do any better of a job than the Greens have done at galvanizing the masses into revolutionary action. Like I said, I think that Jill Stein will probably get more votes than Dr. West when all is said and done, just because of ballot access. So, I think that it's like, obviously I respect Cornel West. I think I don't think he's making things up. I think that he's definitely also shut the fuck up, bro. We were not looking for an excuse to jump ship. Do you know how bad I want a fucking third party candidate that I can actually seriously believe is a viable option? You know how bad I want to vote for someone other than fucking a Democrat or Republican? Are you fucking kidding me? All I've ever wanted since the Jill Stein campaign in 2016 was a third party candidate that could actually get to 5%. So I wouldn't have to feel like a goddamn fool out here telling you guys to vote for them and support them. That's literally all I want. And that's why it was so heartbreaking when Cornel West jumped off the Green Party ticket, because it's like, now we are really fucked. And I can fantasize about a third party candidate winning. But if you think I'm going to sit here and tell you guys to spend your fucking money and spend your time trying to get Cornel West to 3% or whatever the hell he hopes to accomplish, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be honest about it. That also doesn't mean I'm going to tell you to vote for Joe Biden. No, I'm going to tell you to vote for whoever you think you should vote for. But anyway.
Yeah, what do you think of the chat saying that it sounds like some real bad blood is going down? Because it doesn't seem like it's like, oh yeah, like happy-go-lucky. I don't know. I'm not trying to project anything. And also, I banned that guy for good. He's not coming back. We won't listen to his cries when he emails us. We also lost JR Jr. for good. Bye, Jr. It's
I don't know what happened to the guy.
We only have we can only have trolls for a while, Gavin. We refuse to bite our tongue. Sometimes they have to get the final swat. Also, I would just like to add, no context. It's not directed at anybody in our chat, but the NFC is a joke and the AFC is the only real division of football right now.
Mass-based campaign, but the party, for me, in many ways, is much more of an obstacle. I discovered that by working in the party. And so, no, I don't envision at all being on the same ticket as Sister Jill. Now, what I would say is this, though, too, which is very important, and that is that the voices raised can be a positive thing. There's no doubt about that. The voices raised can be very important. That's true for Sister Claudia de la Cruz. I have great respect for the voices raised in that regard. But this talk about, but the Green Party's got all of these ballot access, easy access to these 17 states and so forth, which is, significant, but it's just too utilitarian. It doesn't have the larger visionary and what would be the right word? Almost immeasurable dimension. You see, that we're going to have a good 35 states of 40 by the time.
And this answer would make a lot more sense to me if Cornel West was saying, this is why instead of running with the Green Party, I'm going to run as a Democrat or something, right? Like, because who was able to, create the mass revolutionary coalition that Cornel West is talking about? It was fucking Bernie Sanders running in the Democratic primary against Hillary Clinton. But of course, Cornel West has also ruled that out. He doesn't think the Democratic Party is a good vessel for this sort of a cause either. Which fair, I have my problems with the Democratic Party. You guys know that, and I understand why third-party candidates decide to go about this from outside of the Democratic Party. But if you're not cool with the Green Party, if that's not going to be a good vessel for the sort of change you want to make, and you don't see the Democratic Party primary as a good vessel for that either, then you're really just saying that it's like, I hope my disparate campaign works out, which isn't actually a part of anything bigger. It's not a part of a bigger movement. It's not a part of, a larger system of volunteers that has ballot access, or really even the potential to gain ballot access. It's really just me on Twitter, saying, come and click this link to donate and volunteer. And then 1,000 people retweet it or whatever. Like, it doesn't actually lead to anything. And if it did, if it actually was creating this sort of a mass organizing structure that he is talking about, then I would be down with that, but I just don't see that happening. And if you don't even have a 5% goal that seems feasible, I don't really see a lot of people that are already busy, stressed out, and overworked taking more time out of their day to go beg for donations or, signatures on the street, when again, 5% doesn't even seem viable.
Yeah, 100%.
We go 25 states. Low-hanging fruit.
It sounds like you're more focused on the movement rather than the mechanism.
That I think that's fair. I think that's very, very fair. Or at least I'm concerned about the mechanism. It's just that it's harder for me to have to create the mechanism, but the Green Party as the mechanism, I'm convinced, is not the one for me.
So what the fuck is the solution?
Now,
Like what? Right there. Okay, so you just said not, like you said that, yeah, I'm not the one that's designed to make the mechanism. Well, if you're going independent, that's your fucking job, bro. That's your literal job, is to now do that. You are now, to continue with the bounty of sports analyses, you are now Bill Belichick. So you are the GM and the head coach. And well, we've all seen how the Patriots are playing.
Jill wants to do that, that's fine. That's fine.
Let me ask you about your campaign specifically.
Can I stick with that? Can we pause that one more time? I'm declaring right now, Dr. Cornel West is the Bill Belichick of the fucking political arena right now. One of the most genius minds that you could ever, as somebody, Kimberly Davis, shout out to you, Kimberly Davis, friend of the show. How can West be so brilliant and so bad at this at the same time? That's what I've been asking myself every single time Bill Belichick steps out and coaches the New England Patriots. I watched that man with agony shred any hope that the Chiefs would have. Everybody knew who was winning the AFC Championship. It was the New England Patriots, basically every year for like my whole fucking life, right? And now you watch this guy, and it's like, all right, it's all opened up. You got your Mac Jones, you got your fucking all things. You got rid of Tom Brady, which you thought was some like fucking great idea. All right. So we've already seen him do his People's Party, and yet 2-9 or whatever the fuck the Patriots are right now. Oh, well, right now I'm looking at one of the greatest minds in all of politics, and 2-9 would be charitable for the way that they've, the campaign's been run at this point.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like Dr. West is someone that truly needs that sort of like structure to help him with all of that behind the scenes organizing, not because he isn't capable or brilliant. Obviously, he is both of those things, but running a successful political campaign takes a lot more than being an inspiring communicator and an intelligent academic, a brilliant academic, which again, he absolutely is. Not trying to diss Dr. West here at all. But I think if anyone really needs people, to guide the process and to provide that structure so that Cornel West can just go out there and be Cornel West, that would be great. But as you said, Zach, now he's trying to be the coach and the manager at the same time, and it's just too much. He's spread too thin. And now, to be honest, when I do see him in interviews, I'm just being completely honest, guys, I don't even see him at the top of his game anymore as a communicator, because he seems so stressed out, because he seems, he has so much on his plate. Now, there are exceptions, of course. I've seen some amazing Cornel West clips going around of him at rallies and doing speeches and stuff like that. But I'm not going to lie, some of that magic has kind of evaporated, in my opinion. I saw the same thing happen with Nina Turner when she was doing her congressional runs. I was like, it seems like she's like a little bit stressed out right now. It seems like she's a little bit worn down, and some of that fire and some of that magic that we're used to from Nina Turner has kind of dissipated as a result. I see the same thing happening with Cornel West, and it's like, yeah, dude, that's because now you're trying to do all of this yourself. Now you're trying to get ballot access in all 50 states, realizing that it's almost an impossible goal. It must be a big load to carry.
I mean, we
so
saw
I
it with
feel bad for
Bernie
him,
Sanders.
too.
Was Bernie
yeah.
an inspiring speaker when he was out? No, he looked dead in the eyes and fucking, we were all cheering for him that he could walk so much because he had a fucking heart attack while he was running. Like, do you guys know, like, the absolute toll? And like, none of this, nothing but absolute admiration, respect for Dr. Cornel West. He's accomplished more than Gavin and I would ever fucking dream to if we lived like 30 lives. Okay. I'm not ever going to, try and act like he hasn't, done so much, for the cause. I don't think that he's making good political decisions right now. And I mean, we got to come out here and be honest about that. We do have our guest joining us here shortly. We'll be getting to discuss his new book with him here shortly at the 4 minutes from now. We've got a little bit of time to beat around the bush, but did you have any final thoughts on Cornel West? I think that Jordan did a great job kind of giving a good picture of how the campaign is going, and maybe we can touch on it a little bit more later on in the show. It's a rough out there. Although I will say one thing that you got to give Cornel West is that he's always stayed true to his political convictions, despite the fact that, his ethical convictions, despite the fact that I've, often disagreed with, his political calculations as a, campaigner, as somebody who's running for office. The dude's as honest as they come, and his, advocacy for the Palestinian people is really tremendous right now.
Yeah.
It's something that's incredibly valuable given the way that, he knows he has a moral stature. He cannot be pushed around. I mean, he's a, Black liberation theologian. He's always put, his faith at the forefront. He's not somebody that's ever stood for discrimination. And so him, being paired with this advocacy, as somebody who's such a stalwart of morality, I think is really important and critical. So want to give him some flowers after we were tough on the guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.